Hi guys and welcome to another Hero of the Week. This week's hero is Jemma Forte, podcaster and political commentator. So she appeared on LBC where she was asked about Nigel Farage's seemingly endless banking saga, which is sucking oxygen out of the room and dominating the news cycle. Jemma here raised two really important points. One, that there are more important stories to be covering, and two, Suella frigging Braverman. Well said, Jemma. Have a listen to this.
I can't lie, I'm really sick of hearing about it, and I think it has dominated the news agenda in a disproportionate way. I agree that, at the heart of it, there is an issue there. You can't stop someone having a bank account because of their political beliefs. I think we're all agreed on that, but he's made his point, and now I really want him to be quiet.
But we weren't agreed at the beginning because there were a lot of people, I don't know if you were one of them, who was slightly dancing on his banking grave.
Was I?
I don't know. I just asked you if you were one of them. But there were a lot of people who would describe themselves as on the broad left, believe in civil liberties, believe in human rights, but because it was Nigel Farage, they became crypto-fascists overnight and thought it was very funny that he should lose his bank account.
I thought he'd have...
That's probably me. Look, my problem with all of this is that Nigel Farage is a charlatan. And when he says something, I don't believe him. At the beginning, he said there was nothing to do with his credit rating. And then it turns out it had something to do with his credit rating. Then he said it was all down to Brexit. And it turns out it was more about his general political views. Now, Nigel Farage is not a victim here. Nigel Farage can easily go and set up a bank account with somebody else. He was offered a bank account with NatWest. My bigger concern here is that this issue has dominated the news cycles. This issue has been, sucking the oxygen out of the air, out of the room, when there are more important things to be talking about. Cost of living crisis. But even if you just want to focus on the issue of banking, then when are we going to hear an apology from Nigel Farage for all the expats or British migrants living in Europe who've lost their bank accounts as a direct consequence of Brexit? You don't hear Nigel Farage demanding that, poor people have access to banking services. What about immigrants? Should refugees be allowed to open bank accounts? I don't think you're going to hear much about that from Nigel Farage and his supporters. So when it comes to we need to provide banking services to everyone, well, not everyone, and we used to have it for everyone, but then Brexit came along and Nigel Farage, is demanding apologies from everyone all over the place. Well, when is apologies going to come from Nigel Farage himself?
I can't lie. I'm not going to lose a massive amount of sleep over Nigel Farage losing a bank account and having to bank at NatWest. Honestly, my violin is tinsy. We've got bigger issues in this country. People can't afford to eat. We've got homelessness going through the roof. We've just found out we're going to be paying £110 billion just interest on our debt. So I don't really care where Nigel Farage banks. And if it's NatWest, that's fine. That's perfectly all right.
Just remember, they didn't offer that at the time. They offered that
Oh my God, Ian Dale is coming back to... Well, let's continue this story on Nigel Farage. Who gives a crap about Nigel Farage and his banking? Really? This is not his story. This is not important. As Jemma pointed out, what about the cost of living crisis? What about homelessness? Why aren't we talking about that? Why the hell are we talking about frigging Nigel Farage? Oh, God.
3 days
and also, at the beginning, there was some misinformation, I think, that said he hadn't met the threshold. So again, I was like, oh, let's all cry. But now it has come to light that there was a different issue there. And I do agree that is wrong. And the woman's gone. So for me, that's that. I don't believe. Now, I'm sorry, Suella Braverman was sacked for leaking private information. She's the Home Secretary.
There you go. Where are the calls for her to resign? Nothing. No calls for her to resign. And doesn't even seem to be calls for her to resign from the opposition parties. So you have Nigel Farage and the Tories saying, why aren't we, fighting Nigel Farage's corner? And no mention of Suella Braverman, who lied. The hypocrisy is off the scale. But it's important that there are people calling it out, like Jemma Forte here, and this is why she's our Hero of the Week. See you next time for our next Hero of the Week.